The year is 1954. Across the globe, the seeds of change are being sown. From the battlefields of Indochina to the birth pangs of rock and roll, our world is on the cusp of a new era. Join us as we navigate the tumultuous currents of 1954, a year that reshaped the contours of our world. The year 1954 dawned in the shadow of the Second World War. The old empires were crumbling, replaced by a new bipolar world dominated by the United States and the Soviet Union. The Cold War was a high-stakes game of chess played on a global scale. Yet amidst this atmosphere of tension, 1954 was also a year of remarkable innovation and cultural upheavals. In the East, the First Indochina War reached a boiling point. Meanwhile, in the United States, the Supreme Court prepared to deliver a landmark ruling that would ignite the civil rights movement. The French, once a mighty colonial power, found themselves mired in a costly war in Indochina. Their opponents, the Viet Minh, led by Ho Chi Minh, were determined to win independence for Vietnam. The Geneva Conference, convened in the spring of 1954, brought together world powers to find a solution. After weeks of negotiations, an agreement was reached. Vietnam would be temporarily divided along the 17th parallel. However, the fragile peace would not hold. The seeds of conflict would eventually erupt into the devastating Vietnam War. Beneath the waves, a new era of naval warfare was dawning. In the frigid waters of the Atlantic, the USS Nautilus, the world's first nuclear-powered submarine, prepared to make history. Powered by a revolutionary nuclear reactor, the Nautilus possessed capabilities that were previously unimaginable. On January 17, 1955, the Nautilus sent its now famous message underway on nuclear power. The age of the nuclear submarine had arrived. The Nautilus represented a significant technological leap, a testament to human ingenuity. Yet it also carried a chilling reminder of the escalating Cold War. Chapter 4. Brown v. Board of Education. A nation confronts its conscience. In the United States, a nation deeply divided along racial lines, the year 1954 would witness a pivotal moment in the struggle for civil rights. The streets were filled with tension, and the air was thick with the cries for justice and equality. People from all walks of life were beginning to stand up and demand change, no longer willing to accept the status quo of segregation and discrimination. The Supreme Court was preparing to deliver its verdict on a case that challenged the very foundation of racial segregation in America. This case was not just another legal battle. It was a test of the nation's moral compass, a reflection of its values and principles. The justices knew that their decision would have far-reaching implications, not just for the legal system, but for the very fabric of American society. The case, Brown v. Board of Education, centered around the plight of Linda Brown, a young African-American girl who was denied admission to her local white school in Topeka, Kansas. Her story was a poignant example of the everyday injustices faced by countless African-American children across the country. Linda's father, Oliver Brown, became the lead plaintiff in a class-action lawsuit that sought to end the practice of segregation in public schools. Her case, and others like it, shone a spotlight on the injustice and inequality in American society. The legal team, led by Thurgood Marshall, argued that segregated schools were inherently unequal and violated the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. The case garnered national attention, drawing support from civil rights activists and ordinary citizens alike. On May 17, 1954, the Supreme Court issued its unanimous ruling. The decision was a monumental victory for the civil rights movement, a beacon of hope for those who had long suffered under the oppressive system of segregation. The court's ruling was clear and unequivocal, leaving no room for ambiguity or misinterpretation. Racial segregation in public schools, the justices declared, was unconstitutional. This landmark decision overturned the infamous separate but equal doctrine established by the Plessy v. Ferguson case in 1896. It was a bold and courageous move, one that signaled a new era in the fight for civil rights and social justice. The court's decision sent shockwaves through the nation. Reactions were mixed. While many celebrated the ruling as a step towards equality, others resisted, clinging to the old ways of segregation. The ruling ignited a firestorm of controversy and debate, but it also inspired a renewed sense of hope and determination among civil rights activists. The Brown v. Board of Education decision was a watershed moment in the fight for racial equality in America. It galvanized the civil rights movement, leading to further legal challenges and social reforms. The ruling paved the way for the desegregation of public schools and other public institutions, setting a precedent for future civil rights victories. It marked the beginning of the end of Jim Crow, paving the way for a more just and equitable society. The legacy of Brown vs. Board of Education continues to resonate today, reminding us of the power of the judiciary to effect meaningful change and the enduring struggle for equality and justice in America. Chapter 5: CERN, a collaboration for science. In the aftermath of World War II, as Europe began the long process of rebuilding, a remarkable spirit of international collaboration emerged. It was in this spirit that CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, was founded in 1954. Located on the Franco-Swiss border near Geneva, CERN was envisioned as a beacon of scientific cooperation. At CERN, scientists and engineers would push the boundaries of human knowledge, constructing some of the world's most powerful particle accelerators. CERN's founding marked a turning point in the history of science, representing a new era of international cooperation. Chapter 6: A Medical Miracle, the first successful kidney transplant. In the annals of medicine, the year 1954 stands out as a year of remarkable achievement. It was a time when medical science was making significant strides, and one of the most groundbreaking events was about to unfold. At the Brigham Hospital in Boston, Massachusetts, a team of surgeons led by Dr. Joseph Murray achieved what was once thought impossible: the first successful organ transplant. This monumental event marked a turning point in medical history. The patient, Richard Herrick, was suffering from end-stage renal disease. His condition was dire and traditional treatments offered little hope for recovery. His twin brother, Ronald, offered to donate one of his healthy kidneys. This act of brotherly love and sacrifice set the stage for a medical miracle. The surgery was a success, and Richard Herrick's new kidney functioned perfectly. This success was not just a triumph for Richard and Ronald, but for the entire medical community. The success of the transplant ushered in a new era in medicine, paving the way for organ transplantation to become a life-saving procedure for millions. It demonstrated the potential of organ transplants to save lives and opened the door to future advancements in medical science. Chapter 7: It's Alright Mama, the Birth of Rock and Roll. In the summer of 1954, a young truck driver from Memphis, Tennessee, walked into a recording studio and changed the face of popular music forever. His name was Elvis Presley, and his unique blend of country, blues, and gospel would come to be known as rock and roll. Presley's first single, That's All Right, was released in July 1954. It was a raw and energetic sound, unlike anything that had come before. Elvis Presley's music, with its driving rhythms and suggestive lyrics, sparked a cultural revolution. He became a global icon, a symbol of youthful rebellion and the changing times. Chapter 8: Sports Illustrated, a New Era in Sports Journalism. In August of 1954, a new publication hit newsstands across America. It was called Sports Illustrated, and it promised to cover the world of sports like never before. Founded by Henry Luce, the visionary behind Time and Life magazines, Sports Illustrated was more than just a sports magazine. With its stunning photography, insightful writing, and in-depth coverage of a wide range of sports, Sports Illustrated quickly captured the imagination of sports fans. The magazine's first cover, featuring Milwaukee Braves slugger Eddie Matthews, became an instant classic. Chapter 9: Godzilla, a Monster is Born. From the depths of the Pacific Ocean, a terrifying new kind of monster emerged in 1954. This creature was unlike anything the world had ever seen, a behemoth that would forever change the landscape of monster cinema. His name was Godzilla, and he was a terrifying symbol of the destructive power of the atomic age. Born from the fears of nuclear annihilation, Godzilla's rampage was a stark reminder of humanity's newfound destructive capabilities. Gojira, as he was known in Japan, was the brainchild of filmmaker Ishiro Honda. Honda, inspired by the devastation of World War II and the atomic bombings, sought to create a monster that embodied the terror and destruction of nuclear weapons. The film, a stark allegory for the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, captured the anxieties of a nation still reeling from the horrors of war. It was a poignant reflection of the collective trauma experienced by the Japanese people. Godzilla, a giant prehistoric creature awakened by nuclear testing, laid waste to Tokyo. His destructive path through the city was a visual representation of the chaos and fear that nuclear weapons could unleash upon the world. The film was a massive hit in Japan and would go on to spawn a global franchise that has endured for over 6 decades. Godzilla became a cultural icon, representing not just a monster but a powerful symbol of the anxieties and fears of the atomic age. Chapter 10. The Southeast Asia Treaty Organization, a bulwark against communism. As the Cold War intensified, the United States sought to contain the spread of communism in Southeast Asia. In September 1954, representatives from 8 nations met in Manila to sign the Southeast Asia Collective Defense Treaty, or SEATO. The treaty, modeled after NATO, was a mutual defense pact aimed at countering communist aggression in the region. It was a clear signal that the United States was willing to commit military resources to Southeast Asia. The formation of SEATO marked a significant escalation of the Cold War in Southeast Asia. Outro 1954, a legacy of change. From the battlefields of Vietnam to the recording studios of Memphis, the year 1954 left an indelible mark on the world. It was a year of profound change, witnessing the end of empires, the dawn of the nuclear age, and the birth of new cultural movements. If you'd like to explore more fascinating stories from the past, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more historical content.